Hi, greetings and welcome back to our channel, Raising Pigeons for Military Veterans. And we are back here in a Stony Hill loft of Mr. Vern Clausen in San Antonio, Texas. And because lots of people, Mr. Vern, are requesting me to conduct another interview, for Mr. Vern Clausen, because the last time, the one-on-one interview, Blue, his dog, was barking, and I don't have the proper equipment before. Now I have the proper equipment, I have the mic and everything, and I am so thankful to Mr. Vern Clausen for giving me another opportunity, to have a one-on-one interview here in his backyard, here in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you so much, Mr. Vern, for
it's my pleasure
welcoming me again here in your loft. So, when did you start the raising pigeon?
I started raising pigeons in Fresno, California.
Fresno, California.
Fresno, California in 1962.
1962.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
But I had pigeons since I was a little kid, and that would have been 40 years earlier.
40 years earlier. And you are, how old are you now?
I'm 93.
93 years old, young. Can you believe that? And so you started in Fresno, California. That is like northern part of like LA, right?
No, that's central part of California, on the San Joaquin Valley.
Okay, okay. And you started, did you race already that time, or?
Yes, that's when I was racing, yes.
Club racing. Were you particular with the pedigree before, the bloodline and everything?
Oh, I was always interested in a pigeon that I thought could win.
Okay.
And whatever it took to make such a pigeon. And sometimes it's the way the bird handled, sometimes it's the pedigree, sometimes it's the record, sometimes it's the eye, sometimes it's the back, and so forth.
Yeah. So California, well, totally different from the weather of Texas, right?
Well, it's not that different because Central California, the weather is comparable to here.
Okay.
It gets a little colder in the winter, but it gets 110 degrees in the summer too.
But for sure, it's now humid as here, right?
No, it's not humid.
It's not humid. So the birds, do you remember the strain of the birds that you used before?
Oh yeah, I flew Stashards and Seahawks mostly.
Okay. And did you keep those bloodline when you moved here in Texas?
Yes, some of those bloodlines came with me. Yeah.
Okay. And then I believe you mentioned before that you are an Air Force veteran, right? So what's the story? You grew up in Fresno, California.
No, I grew up in Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. You're everywhere. You're like the Johnny Cash song, I've been everywhere, man. So you're from Illinois, you grew up there, but you never had a pigeon before.
I had pigeons all the time when I was a kid, but I didn't.
You didn't
fly,
race?
I didn't fly competitively.
So when you were in Illinois, you had birds already?
Oh yeah.
And then how did it start? Like, did you inherit that from your parents or from your family?
No. At that time, I was interested in color birds.
Color birds. Or are you fancy birds or racing pigeons?
They were racing pigeons.
Okay.
But I liked the color.
Okay.
And that's a lot of kids did.
Yeah.
And so I kept them until I went off to school.
Okay. So can you tell us some story, like you're in Illinois, you go to school, and then you got back home. Every time you go home, you take care of your birds.
Oh, you bet.
And then who take care of the feeds and from your allowance?
That was a problem.
Okay.
I used to use my mother's chicken feed.
Okay.
And she got upset with me because I had too many pigeons.
So your mother has pigeons. I mean chicken.
Yeah.
And then you feed your pigeons with the chicken feed before.
In those days we did, yes.
Those are pellets, right?
No, that was grain.
Grain, okay. Corn,
Wheat
grain.
and corn.
Wheat, corn. So it made your pigeons fat.
Well, I suppose you could say that.
Because I believe, too much corn will make them kind of really bulky.
Yeah.
So who built your first loft though?
Well, I did, such as it was.
Okay.
It wasn't anything I'd like anybody to see, because nowadays if you saw it, if you were a pigeon flyer and if you saw it, you'd say, put a match to it.
So approximately how old you were when you were in Illinois having the first time?
About 8 or 10 years old.
8 or 10 years old. Who influenced you though?
I just like the birds.
You just like the birds. Do you have like some mentor or group of people in Illinois?
No, not really.
Not really.
Because I didn't learn to know pigeon flyers until I left Illinois.
Okay. But in Illinois, where did you get your birds?
We'd go out and catch them.
You just caught them? So those are like, what do you call this? Under the bridge kind of...
Barneys, yeah.
Barneys. So you caught them and you kept them captive.
Right. And I had a friend or two that was my age, and he had the same problem of liking pigeons that I had.
Okay.
So we traded back and forth.
So the good question is, did you make those pigeons come back home?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I would take some, when my mother would tell me, too many birds, get rid of some, I could sell them in town.
Okay.
And for 7.5 cents a piece.
And that's like equivalent now is like what, like $20?
No, probably about closer to $1.50 maybe.
Okay.
but anyway, I sold them there. That was about 5 miles from home. And sometimes some of those birds got away from those people. And they came back home to me.
Okay.
And I was impressed. Came all the way 5 miles, you know, well, that was a big thing.
When they come back home, do they buy it back or you give it back to them?
No, they stayed with me.
They stay with you until...
For 7.5 cents, it wasn't worth fooling with.
Yeah. And then your mom gave up, like, you know, okay, you can have your pigeons.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then from Illinois, you moved to California.
Well, from Illinois, I went to high school in Missouri.
Missouri.
And when I got to high school, I went a year of college there. And then I joined the Air Force.
So from Illinois, you moved to Missouri.
Right.
Did you move your birds also there?
No.
You don't have birds in Missouri?
No. I lived in a dormitory.
Okay, but in Missouri, that's where you joined the military.
Yes.
And then can you tell us about something that, like, how did you get involved into the military? Did someone motivate you or you just got drafted?
Well, I was about to get drafted, yes.
Okay.
I had already taken my Army physical.
Okay.
And then my father prevailed upon me that I should join the Air Force.
Okay.
Because my cousin was going into the Air Force. So,
okay.
So actually we joined together.
So you were thinking about the Army?
Yes, I was thinking initially about the Army.
The Army. And you are willingly, even though they don't draft you, you're going to join anyway, something like that.
That's correct.
And then you got drafted and you joined the Air Force.
Correct.
What year was that, if you remember?
1952.
1952. In Missouri.
In Missouri.
And then you joined the Air Force. Where was the training?
San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, here in Lackland?
Lackland Air Force Base.
Okay. And then after the training, where was your assignment?
My assignment was at Nousar Air Depot in French Morocco, Casablanca, French Morocco.
Oh, okay. Overseas right away after the boot camp? Wow. And what was your job?
I was in charge of personnel.
Okay. And how many years did you stay there?
I was in the Air Force. I had an 8-year service application.
8 years.
And 4 of it was active duty and 4 was inactive.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then after that, after the Morocco, right?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Then I went to college.
You went to college,
Yeah.
what
I
state?
had the GI Bill available to me.
Yeah.
So I went to college on the GI Bill. And after that, after I graduated from college, they sent me to California.
Okay, what did you take in college?
Well, education.
Education. Did you become a teacher?
Yes.
So you taught? What, high school, elementary?
Middle school.
Middle school. How was it though?
It was enjoyable. I'll have to say that it was more enjoyable the first years than the last years.
Is that a general education?
Yes.
What school it was that you taught?
Well, it was in Fresno County Schools.
Okay.
And it was
in Fresno County School?
Fresno County Schools.
In California?
Right.
Okay. How old were you when you start teaching in middle school, if you remember?
Probably my early 30s.
Early 30s?
Yeah.
Were you married already that time?
Yes.
Okay. How many kids do you have?
I had 3.
Okay.
One is deceased.
Okay, sorry to hear that. So when you were teaching in Fresno, did you acquire birds right away, or
Oh, yeah.
you acquired already right away?
My neighbor across the street had racing pigeons, and it didn't take long, and I had racing pigeons.
So
also.
your neighbor in Fresno, California, had a racing pigeons, correct?
Yeah, right.
And then you are already a teacher
Yes.
in middle school, and then you acquired some birds from him.
Some from him and some from others. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then tell us something about that. Did you, because you said that you started from pigeons from just like, let's say feral pigeons, right? And then how did you learn to acquire quality birds and everything when you were in Fresno, California? It's like saying like, oh, this bird is not for me, this bird is,
Well, I guess after I started flying, I began to realize that you have to have a certain bird if you like to win.
Okay.
And I've always been motivated to win. I didn't want to be on the bottom of the race sheet.
Of course.
So I got to the point where I found the kind of bird that I liked,
Okay.
and tried to perpetuate them.
Were they pedigreed already?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the strain of those birds?
They were Seons and Stasserts.
Okay. And what club, what is the name of the club that you were?
Fresno Racing Pigeon Club.
Fresno, are they still existing until now?
No, it's not either. It was a big club. It was 40, 50 members. But over the years, like so many pigeon clubs, they've disintegrated.
Okay.
And I understand now that they have a club there again.
Okay.
But whether they even call it, I don't know.
Okay. So Fresno, how many years did you teach when you were in Fresno?
20 years.
20 years. So you retired as a teacher?
No, then I moved to Houston and taught there for a while.
Okay.
Then I moved here and I taught here.
So you moved from, let me just track the record, okay? From Illinois to Missouri to Morocco to Fresno, California, and then you moved to Houston.
Right.
Right. So let me go back to Fresno, okay? When you acquired birds and you are teaching. So how did your wife take it? Like, because we know that it is important that our partners supports us.
Well, I tried to interest my wife in them.
Okay.
And she was interested about 5 minutes.
Okay.
But her attitude always was, if you like them, it's okay with me.
Okay. So she didn't disagree with you having pigeons?
No, she did not.
Do you remember the size of the loft that you built in Fresno? Like how many birds basically you approximately you had?
Probably 150 birds.
That's a lot. And you trained them and everything like that. And then your wife also feed them or something like that?
Well, if I have to go to a conference,
okay,
she took care of them for me.
Oh, that's nice. It's a good support. How about your kids? Are they got into it when they were young?
My oldest son got birds from me. He moved to Nebraska, and he belonged to the North Platte Racing Pigeon Club. And on 2 successive weekends, he won the 600-mile race.
Nice. That's a long race.
And they were with my Seons.
Oh, wow, with the Seons.
Yeah.
So it just proved that the Seons are for long distance.
Oh, yeah. They were good birds in those days. Now we've got all these special birds,
Yeah, because what I know about Seons, they are for long distance.
Yes, they were
like Seons and sticklebout, those kind of birds.
Right.
So your son inherited your hobby.
Right.
Okay. And then when he moved to Nebraska, he got into it.
He got my birds, yeah.
He became a member, club member. When you were in Fresno, was there a one-loft race already?
No, there was not. No.
So it's pure club racing.
The club race, we had futurity races.
Okay.
And auction races.
So futurity race, young bird, old bird, and then the auction race.
Right.
And so do they have conventions already?
Oh, yeah.
So the conventions like the AO convention, which is like a mini one-loft race, right?
Yeah. In California, it's called the California State Racing Pigeon Organization.
Nice.
CSRPC.
And that was a big one, right?
And that went from city to city. And we could put birds in those races, yes. So that was a type of a one-off race, yes.
I remember what you said before. The enjoyment of racing pigeon starts at the backyard.
Yes, it does.
Right? Can you tell me something about that story? For why did you mention that? What was the memorable story in Fresno, California with your family and the birds?
Well, my kids were still young then, you know.
Yeah.
And so they got interested in them. So we did it together.
Okay.
And it was a nice family activity.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go any place to do it except to train the birds.
Yes.
And
they have to wake up early also with you?
right. We train early, of course. And then they were very intrigued when we had a race and pigeons came home.
Right. It's like they were kind of like fascinated why
That's
the birds, like you toss them like 300 miles away and they will come up back home.
That's right.
Right. And then, okay, from Fresno, you mentioned that you moved to Houston.
Right.
So what happened to your birds that from in Fresno?
They went to my son in Nebraska.
Oh, nice.
And then when I moved from there to here, I got back in. I bought this property out in the country so that I wouldn't have any problem with neighbors, and that I'd have a lot of room. And so it was a reactivation into the pigeon sport.
When you were in Fresno, you taught 20 years in middle school, right?
Right.
And then when you moved to Houston, you still taught?
Yes.
In middle school also. But did you acquire any birds when you were in Houston?
Yes, I had friends from California that sent me some birds,
Oh, okay.
but I didn't fly competitively.
Not competitively. So you just have like a pet for now, for
Right.
that period of time while you were in Houston.
Right.
And then how many years did you stay in Houston?
7.
7 years. So 7 years, no competitive competition,
That's right.
fly. So you just make them loft fly, something like that. And then you missed the competition, so you thought of moving here in San Antonio, Texas.
Yes, we've been here 35 years
35
on
years.
this property.
Okay.
So we had plenty of opportunity to be competitive here.
So when you moved here, you don't have your other kids anymore, right?
No.
They have their own
No, they were all
everywhere.
married and
Married
on
and
their-
everything. And then you move here only with your wife, correct?
That's correct. When I moved here, you could not see another light at night.
Okay.
No houses,
Which is nice.
right? And since that time, they have built thousands of houses.
Correct. The traffic is too
Horrendous,
much.
Yeah.
And then you built the loft.
Built the building.
Which was the first one that you built?
The first one I built is no longer here.
No longer here. And then we're gonna show later, because behind us are the cock birds, right?
Right.
And then we're gonna show also the hen. And so let me ask you, Mr. Vern, when you moved here, you joined the club.
Yes.
Okay, what's the name of the club?
Woodlawn Racing Pigeon Club.
Is still existing?
Yes, it is.
Woodlawn Racing Pigeon Club.
It's like a lot of clubs. It's lost a lot of members.
Okay.
But it's still, they flew young birds. Just finished it last week.
Okay. And then how did you acquire the birds? If you remember when you come here,
Well, I bought them.
you bought them from from the local or
So some local and some
friends from California?
California. I got some from, yes. From people who had successful families.
So how was it like when you moved here? How's the pigeon racing back then that you remember? Like,
It was competitive.
competitive.
Yeah. At that time, there were about 45 members in the Woodlawn Club.
45 members. That's a lot. And then, how many miles are that the birds will
Well,
fly?
they went from 100 to 600 miles.
To 600 miles, and that is a really good distance.
Yes, it is.
And what are the competitive birds that you had before that you were here? Because I know you are a Houben.
Yeah.
You are well known for the Houben, but back in the day when you started here,
Well, in those days, people didn't have Houbens. I hadn't even heard of them.
yes,
But we flew Jansons and Stassers, Sions, Bastines,
Bastines.
Bricu,
Yeah.
HVRs.
HBR. Bastin is one of the biggest before.
Yeah.
And also I interviewed Mr. Bill Miller. He has this golden matin. Those are the old bloodlines.
Right.
And what can you say about the new bloodlines? Like, you know, from the old bloodlines and the new bloodlines.
Well, in my opinion,
Yes.
the new bloodlines don't have the same endurance abilities as the old ones.
They don't have the endurance like the old bloodlines.
Right.
So going back
However,
to the
they're faster, they're speedier.
they have the speed.
Yeah.
Going back to the basic, the old bloodlines have the endurance.
Yeah. It was hard to lose one of those old birds.
Okay.
Nowadays, they're losing half their pigeons.
They might not come back daybird,
That's right.
but they will still come back.
That's right.
So that is the important for the long distance fly, right? The endurance and everything.
Endurance, and of course, you know, weather conditions have a lot to do with the ability of a pigeon to return home.
So how did you end up concentrated with Houbens? So what made the Houben birds
Well,
special to you?
like I said, I was experimenting with a lot of different pigeons in those
You were
days.
experimenting.
I had charlicans, I had Houbens, and I had Herbots.
Okay, Herbots.
Those were
Those are old bloodlines.
yes. And I got so many good birds in each of those families
Okay,
that I just had too many pigeons.
correct.
So I had to make a decision. And I decided that I would keep the Houbens.
Okay. So what can you tell about the Houben birds compared to the old bloodlines?
No, they're much faster.
They are faster. And the endurance for the weather for the Texas, right?
Yes, they serve very well here on the shorter races.
Okay,
They fly very well through 300 miles.
okay.
And you can fly them longer than that. I've flown them 500 miles.
Uh-huh.
But I'd say that the Houbens have their greatest strength at 300 miles.
I'll be honest with you, when we talk about Houben that came from you, we call it Vern. I believe that we have some viewers that acquired birds from Mr. Vern, people from California, from Colorado, you know, different parts of the state, even North Carolina, they contacted me. And here in Texas, we have a group of breeders here that acquired birds from Mr. Vern, the Houben, and we call them Vern. So, because he developed them, he maintained them. So the good question: what's your decision of pairing the birds? For example, you're gonna join the club racing. Okay, what do you consider for breeding them, matching them?
Well, I like to have pigeons that have been flown.
Okay, the results.
I like record birds.
Okay,
And if I have a diploma birds, I like that even better.
okay,
I like the body structure.
okay. For example, this one.
That's a very nice bird.
What is this one?
That's a Houben.
This is a Houben, and this is a 208. You know what I'm amazed with Mr. Vern? Tell him the band number, and he remembers the history and the story of the bird. There you go. Okay, this is gonna be 208 Lone Star AU 2020. Can you tell me something about this one?
Yes, that year we were flying young birds, and I was doing quite well. And this, from the 200-mile race, this bird was the winner.
200 miles race, it won. And what is the call? What do you call the color of this one?
Well, I call it Nash. That's the product of a red check and a black bird.
So red checkered and black one. This is gonna be
They will produce an ash-colored bird.
the ash color bird.
We call that an ash. It's a barless mealy.
Barless. There you go. Okay. In regards with the wings, do you consider something in the wings?
I like the well-balanced wing.
How do you consider a well-balanced wings?
Where the last flights have good length to them.
Well, this is molting, so
Yes, that's right. I'd like the last 3 flights to be practically the same length.
so these 3 flights should be almost the same.
Right.
Okay, not perfectly the same,
No,
but
you know.
at least they are. Let me grab.
And I like the difference between the secondaries and the primaries, that there be a step there.
Let me grab this black one.
Okay.
That is not molting, because that one is molting.
Well, they're probably all molting.
I think so. No, this one is not. Okay, so this one, this 1, 2, 3, right? They should almost be the same.
And they are.
And they are. That's what I can tell.
Yeah.
And they are like kind of thin on the tip.
Yes.
Is that important also?
I like that, especially for a speed bird.
For the speed bird. So this black one is what?
It's a Houben.
It's a Houben also. Okay, there you go. Let me show to the camera what Mr. Vern is talking about. Those 3 flights should almost the same, and it's like a really thin. It's like a blade. And then, do you consider the swaddle, eye sign?
Yes, I like that. I like good eye sign birds.
Okay. So do you pair the yellow eye to the pearl eye? Do you believe in that?
I try to cross a pearl on a yellow or vice versa
Okay.
when I breed.
Okay.
However, that isn't necessary. When I had the Charlican family, they had absolutely no eye sign at all. They were washed out pearl eyes.
Okay.
But they flew good. They were good pigeons. Then now the Houbens, they come with both a yellow eye and a pearl eye.
Okay.
So I try to perpetuate the. I like a yellow eye. I think a yellow eye is more beautiful than a pearl eye. However, that doesn't make it a better.
That's your reference,
That's
because
the
thing with the pigeon racing, each breeder has their own preference.
That's right.
So we don't have the dictionary of saying that we should stick in this way. That's the good thing about pigeon racing. We have our own preference and techniques and everything.
I imagine as you've talked to different people, you've gotten different attitudes.
Correct. And I interviewed lots of different breeders and fanciers already, and I am so thankful about that. And I handled different birds already.
Sure.
And I can tell the birds of Mr. Bernard.
Each person, he likes what he's got and he thinks they're the best.
Yes, that's true. And Mr. Vern's birds are healthy. Every time I hold them, they are well balanced. They are buoyant.
Yeah, that's important. Buoyancy is an important thing.
Okay, they need to be. So they need to be light, like not heavy, right? Even though they are big, because I was handling that white flight earlier. It's big, but it's light. Okay, so with the eye sign, what are the things that you consider with the eye sign?
Well, years ago, the eye sign was the circle around the pupil, which was called the circle of correlation.
Okay.
And then if a pigeon really had super eye sign, the sphincter muscle was inside the pupil, and you look for that. If they had that, you like that. Nowadays, I think the thing they're looking for more is the ability to the eye, the pupil of the eye, to get smaller and larger when exposed to the sun.
Okay. How about the length of the wings?
I like it to be within an inch of the tip of the tail.
Okay, like that. That's like that. Okay. Not too long.
Right.
Not going
No.
like touching the tip now.
No.
So it should be like an inch at least.
Right.
Okay.
And I like the back. I like the back to be
strong back like this.
Like that. Yeah.
So when you don't have to do that, like the legs, but you could do that. But you can do that, and it's still like this.
Right.
It doesn't like fan out.
Yes, I like that too.
Okay. How about the vent?
I like a closed vent.
It should be closed. Okay. And then with this, it should be like the muscle.
Right.
Should be soft. And this one is well balanced, I can tell. This one is a stock bird, right?
What's the number?
1025.
Oh yeah, that's.
It's a stock bird, 2023. Let me grab another one. This blue one, because these are all hen, and this blue one is a white flight, and doesn't want to. Now we're gonna ask Mr. Vern what is the bloodline of this. Oh, this is a double banded.
Right.
2020 AU NBC, number 41, and then the other band is 5023, I believe, GSAF.
Right.
So what is the story about this one? This is a pretty bird.
Yeah,
I like this.
That's That bird is primarily Figo and Josh Toney.
Josh Tourney. Okay. Not Houben.
No.
At least last I grabbed non-Houben.
No, not Houben.
So this is also a stock bird.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Look at this. Also the feather is silky and everything, right? So when you breed them, okay, you said that you match the birds by the result, right? And also
In part, yes.
Part of it, right? And then the eye sign, you prefer yellow eyes.
I like a rich eye, yes.
Okay, because you like that because the eye sign, which important also when they are flying. It's not a mythical kind of eye sign that, for example, oh, there's a sign that it will win. It's not like that. It's something like this can hold the too much bright of the sunlight. Correct.
Correct.
Those type of thing. And then when you breed them, what month of the year, for example, you're gonna join the one loft race?
If I were going to send birds to the one loft race, which I do, those birds are usually bred in January and February.
Okay.
And then the youngsters are coming out of the nest in April.
Okay.
And then you have a chance to determine the health of the young bird and the conformation, and you try to pick something that's the best you can come up with.
Okay.
Because it's going to be competitive with the best birds in the country.
So how do you consider preparing them? Do you vaccinate them?
Oh yeah, they all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of vaccination that you give them?
Well, I buy it from Seagulls.
Okay, from Seagulls, Mr. Ed Minville.
Right.
Yeah, he's a really good guy from Louisiana.
Right.
Those are for the pox,
Pox,
salmonella.
salmonella,
Do you vaccinate?
adenovirus.
Okay, you vaccinate them when they were young, right?
They should be vaccinated twice.
Twice.
Once when they're young and probably another time before you fly them.
Before they fly. But when you breed a bird, you don't need to vaccinate them.
No, you should not during the time that they're breeding. No,
Before they breed.
before they breed.
Okay. What do you give for the breeders before they breed?
Well, I give them something to be sure they don't have any worms.
Okay.
Deworm them.
Deworming.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
You bet.
Yeah. And also the calcium, right? Do you boost them with a particular kind of feed first?
I buy feed that comes out of Iowa.
Okay.
And there are different types of grains that you can buy, and there's some that are particularly for breeders and young
Okay.
birds. And I buy those.
How many % of protein? Are you particular with those, the protein?
Well, certainly protein is important. I don't think that excessive protein is necessary.
Okay.
And
Maybe 13%?
yeah, that 13-14%.
13-14%.
And that's also for flying.
Do you already give them grits before they...
Oh yes.
Okay. Because that's very important for the shell also, calcium.
Well, the pigeons are just like chickens. They have a gizzard.
Correct.
And that grit is necessary to break up the feed.
Correct. And then, okay, I picked this cock, I picked this hen. Do you put them already together in one breeding loft, or do you make them accustomed to each other?
It depends upon.
Okay.
If they've been bred together before, I put them together in an individual breeding pen.
Okay.
And if they are accepting of one another,
Okay.
then I leave them alone.
So you watch them
but
closely.
If the cock becomes too aggressive, I'll take him out, or take her out, and then I have another pen that joins it with just wire between them, and he'll be on one side and she on the other. And he'll get to the point where he'd like to be with her.
Yeah.
So when you watch them and see how they're doing.
Because that is the sad part also, that there are some cocks that will abuse the hen.
Yes.
Let me use that word, like almost killed some hens.
That's right.
And we need to watch on that.
That's right.
Right? Because you don't want your expensive or valued hen got killed.
You don't want to pigeon you appreciate it and you care for it. It's your life. You don't want to
Yes.
abuse, no.
Yes. So there are some techniques, other breeders use, and Mr. Vern use his own technique. And I will also show he has individual breeding pens, right? Because I know you also do, what do you call this, the mass breeding? That
some of that, but that's minimal.
Yes.
When I breed for one loft races, I breed individually.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Yeah.
If you want to breed particular breed that you will send to the one loft race, you put them in the individual.
Yes.
And then also some other breeders, they do that mass breeding. But of course, we still know what's the parents' band or...
That's right, and if they do well, you can trace the ancestry.
The ancestors.
And try to repeat them or breed accordingly.
Okay. And then, okay, you also already bred the breeders, they have eggs, they hatched. So what's the next step?
Well, the next step is to make sure that you keep them fed and watered properly. I increase the feed for parents when they're feeding young.
Okay.
And I also supplement my feed then with pellets.
You give them electrolytes, correct?
Yes.
And that's very important, right? And some breeders, they will separate the squabs right away when they start eating, and then breed the breeders right away. Do you do the same thing?
Well, there's a fellow that came from overseas. He got pigeons and he started breeding them, and he came over here and he said, well, I brought my young birds along for you to see. I took them away from the parents when they were 20 days old.
Okay.
And they were pitiful. They were emaciated.
Wow.
So my feeling is leave the pigeons with their parents till at least until they're 28 days old.
28 days.
Or older.
Okay.
I like to take them away when they're about a month old.
Do you do the pampers?
Yes, I would do that.
What do you think? Does it abuse the health of the breeders?
No, I don't think it abuses the parents, young birds, say 2 or 3 year old birds, to raise three clutches.
Okay. They can do that.
Oh yeah, no problem.
So we cannot say it's abusive.
No.
It's not.
No,
it's in their nature.
It's in their nature. However, if you want to increase the productivity from a certain pair, then you can use pumpers too.
Okay. So I just want to make up with that. Okay. I mean, review with that. I'm trying to, because we need this important information. So with Mr. Vern, if the bird is like 2-3 years old, the breeders, right? They can do first, second clutch.
Yes.
No problem.
No problem.
But if you want to increase the productivity of the breeders, correct? You will use pumpers.
And I may, in other words, you're encouraging the hen to lay back, and you can raise more young.
There you go.
Yes.
So that's a really good tip with Mr. Vern. And now...
It depends on your objective.
Yes, that is correct. And then the squab are eating by themselves and everything. When do you vaccinate them?
I vaccinate them when I take them out of the nest.
When they take out from the nest?
That was, in other words, about 30 days old.
You don't deworm them, right?
Not then, no.
Not that time. No. Only the vaccination, pox and salmonella, those kind of stuff. And you start the training then for the club racing.
Well, when they're 30 days old, you separate them from their parents, and you teach them to go through the trap, and you get them acclimated to the new loft they're in.
Yes.
And when they're probably a week later, you take a big, deep breath, and you take the screen off from the front, and you see how far they'll fly. And they all come back.
Wishing that they will not overfly.
That's right.
So, what is the most memorable, because you've been doing this almost your entire life, what is racing pigeon for you? Why is it very important?
To me, it's a release of tension.
That is nice.
You know, if I came home from work and I was stressed or the traffic was bad, I can go in the loft and look at my birds and and I'm relaxed.
That is why we have this racing pigeons for military veterans. And you've donated some birds already.
Yeah.
It went to California, just to let you know. And Mr. Vern donated some birds, and we donated to the veterans because we believe that this is a good emotional support leisure for
Tension release, yeah.
tension release. There you go. When did you stop the club? You are still club member, but you don't do the racing anymore.
Can't train. I can't drive up and down the highway.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would. I've got. They just finished the loft. Finished flying in the Woodlawn Club 300 miles 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I had the first 4 birds
Wow.
that I had bred, but I put them in somebody.
You put them there.
Put them in somebody else's loft.
But I mean, I believe you miss it though.
Oh yeah.
You know, you miss the trainings, waking up early and everything.
Yeah. And there's nothing more exciting than to see the birds come home.
Okay, we're gonna show the loft of Mr. Vern, and we really appreciate the time that he gave to us. Okay, we're gonna go to his loft.
Okay.
So Mr. Vern will show us the hen section, and this is the hen section, right?
Right.
So these are the individual breeding that we mentioned earlier, right, Mr. Vern?
Right.
So here, what are these, Mr. Vern?
Well, these are 5 old birds. They're too old to compete with the rest of them, so I put them in here where they can get all the feed they want.
Are they still breeding?
Yeah. No. Well, I'm going to breed from that splash next week. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the average speed again? The one that won average speed?
No.
That's not the one, right?
No. These are all cockbirds.
Oh, cockbirds.
And right here is my blind pigeon.
Blind.
Yeah, he's blind.
Okay.
He was hatched blind.
Okay. But is it breeding?
No. I just try to take care of him.
Okay, that's nice of you. And here is Mr. Vern's hen. So we're gonna go inside.
Let's go outside.
And how many times do you feed your birds?
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
Yeah. I've always done it that way. I know some people only feed them once a day, and that's their prerogative. But I feed them twice a day. Yeah, and this is just kind of a...
I like that slide thing.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the hen.
Yes, these are hens.
These are the hens.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you use this as a flyer's loft before?
Yeah.
Nice. Ontario?
This is Packard, Canada.
In Canada, yeah.
It's very clean.
Lots of safflower.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. And that's for the hen. Let me help you with that. Oh, you.
Yeah, help me balance.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Say flies.
Oh yeah.
He's really a nice guy. I really enjoy him.
He's a military veteran also.
Yes, he is. Retired.
Yep. Army.
Yeah. He was a medic or something like that.
Yeah, he was a medic.
feed down here.
And then here are some of your trophies, right?
Yeah, some.
There you go. Which one is the most memorable one?
Oh, that one's in the house.
Inside the house.
That's my dash for cash one.
Oh, okay. And this one, snowboat. You have a picture of that one, that bird. What can you tell about this one? The showboat, I should say.
Oh, so that was a muleman.
That's a muleman?
Yeah.
So what's the story? Why that one has a...
Well, he just did well in the shows.
Oh, okay.
His first place bird in the show. So that was why he got his special recognition.
Oh, okay, that's why.
I don't have any mulemans anymore.
Muleman is like one of the old
Yeah.
breed also.
Yeah.
And these are your medications for the birds?
Yes, those are some medications, right. That's correct.
Some vitamins and everything.
Yeah.
And more trophies. There you go. And you are making crates.
Yes,
This one, Mr. Vern made this one. And if there's someone who wants to order, Mr. Vern, how much do you charge for
I
that?
will charge $60.
That is cheap.
When you consider the time in it, it's very cheap.
Yes.
I do it because it occupies my time and it's good for me.
Okay, so you don't really charge that much because
No, if
you just want to be occupied.
Yeah, if you were to make it on your own with the material there, you could probably do it for $35, $40. But if you figure the time in it, you're making about 50 cents an hour.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, you can buy this more than $60.
Right.
Like, you know, here, it's really handmade.
Yeah.
That's the and the quality is really nice. Look at this. And Mr. Vern built this in his garage. Look at this. So if anybody wants to order, Mr. Vern still makes
I
that.
will not ship them out inside. I'll make them for people, but they have to come pick them up.
Yes, yes.
I will not ship them out.
Or locally, right?
Yeah, right.
And Mr. Vern gonna show us the cockbirds, right? You're gonna feed them also.
Yeah, sure, we'll go over there. Be quiet, man. Come on in. Come on in, I'm going to close the door. Because I've learned that to have an extra door between the birds and the time they get away is a good thing.
So this is the feeds that Mr. Vern used. It's packed from Canada. And these are his cockbirds.
Go on in.
And you also make this one, right? The feeding.
Yeah. Throw some feed in there.
So you mix your own feeds, right?
Yes. I use this. I'm saving this for breeders.
These are for breeders because of the safflowers.
Yeah. Come on. back.
So these are also the cockbirds, right, Mr.
Yeah,
Vern?
yeah. They go back and forth. Yes.
Oh, they can.
Yeah, they go back and forth.
Can I come here?
Sure.
What I noticed is that Mr. Vern produced lots of ash this color, and he said that he likes it. So from here, oh, they can go there. We thank Mr. Vern Clausen again for warm welcoming us here for another interview, and we thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Especially for your service
It's my pleasure.
for our country, and thank you for your participation, your involvement with this sport, racing pigeon sport, and you are a living legend. I can
I don't claim that.
but I can say that from my hearts of heart. You are one of the living legends of the sport, and thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again, sir.
All right.
Thank you for that, Mr. Vern.
Okay.